Strela.am editor-in-chief Ashot Aghababyan's conversation with politician Ara Sahakyan. Ashot Aghababyan, what is Central Asia in political, economic, and geographical terms? Ara Sahakyan. 200 years ago, Central Asia also appeared in the sphere of Russia's interests. In the 70s of the 19th century, to put it mildly, the appropriation or colonization of these huge territories ended. Central Asia stretches from the Caspian Sea to the Pamirs, inhabited mainly by Turkic-speaking peoples, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, Uzbeks, Turkmen, and Iranian-speaking Tajikistan. It is a rapidly developing region. The conditions are favorable for habitation in river valleys and mountainous regions. The region is rich in minerals, oil, gas, gold, molybdenum, copper, figuratively speaking, the whole Mendeleev table. And that is why after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the region appeared in the center of attention of the great powers, the West and China. None of these countries, however, have access to the world's oceans. The countries of Central Asia are different in terms of development and opportunities. For example, according to the UN Human Development Ratio, Kazakhstan is at the highest level and Tajikistan at the lowest. It is true that Kazakhstan is two-thirds of the territory of Central Asia, but Uzbekistan is the first in the region in terms of population. In terms of restrictions on political freedom, Turkmenistan stands out, from which we receive very little information. The situation is worse in Tajikistan. It was much worse in Uzbekistan before Mirzo came to power. I think that heart of Central Asia is Uzbekistan. The offices of all international organizations as well as large transnational corporations will gradually be concentrated here. Now Kazakhstan is in that role, but as a market it is starting to give way to Uzbekistan. We must take into account the rich natural resources, convenient geographical location from China to Europe, from Russia to the Indian Ocean. From time to time, the Central Asian region becomes the center of events, attracting the attention of world leaders. 20 years ago, the United States officially announced that Central Asia was in its long-term strategic interests. As long as the Soviet Union existed, no one could keep an eye on the region. Ashot Aghababyan. What is the format of Turkish cooperation in this territory? Can it be of a formal nature or is it a real force and concrete actions are expected? Ara Sahakyan. Looking at it from the point of view of Armenia's interests, we must know the answer to those questions and keep the so-called Turkish Council in the center of our attention. Before the collapse of the Soviet Union, Turkey was the only Turkic-speaking country. Turkic tribes lived in those regions, but they were not considered a state unit. In the post-Soviet period, it was striking that Turkey simply generously financed the Turkic-speaking peoples of the region in political, economic, and cultural spheres. Ozal was very active, on whose initiative the organization Council of Turkic Cooperation State or Turkic Cooperation was established in 1992. And when they met for the second time in Istanbul in 1994, Süleyman Demirel, then president of Turkey, announced that they wanted to bring the wealth of Central Asia to Europe through Turkey. What is happening with Armenia? The Artsakh 44-day war, the current settlement is due to the fact that Armenia is in the center of connecting the roads of Turkey and the Turkic world, and they need an unhindered road. There is a road transporting such huge rolling stock. It is the Aghababyan road, from where it reaches to Turkey by the Baku to Tbilisi Kars railway. But they want more ways, and that is the reason why Armenian roads are called corridors. They need a corridor to keep in touch. Is the Turkic Council a political club or a union of fraternal peoples? Tajikistan is Iranian-speaking. We do not consider it a member. When Erdogan went to Kazakhstan, he said, "I'm coming to my homeland." And when Nazarbayev was going to Turkey, he said, "I have come to my house." In 2009, as the most important link, the foundation of the Union demonstratively was laid in Nakhchivan. Our allies, the Kazakhs, the Kyrgyz, and the Uzbeks have already voted in favor of very sharp, non-diplomatic statements about the territorial integrity of Artsakh in the seas, CSTO. To this day, they cannot bring Turkmenistan to their field. The Turkmen have declared in the UN that they are a neutral state. The Uzbeks have had several sharp turns in their relations with Russia, Turkey, and the United States. The composition of the Turkic Council is as follows: founders Turkey, Azerbaijan, members Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. The Council has an observer, Hungary. What has Hungary got to do with it? When handing over Emil Safarov, they hinted that they had a great connection with the Turkish world. It is in the national self-consciousness of the Hungarians that the ancientors came from those steppes. The Huns moved to Europe in the 4th century, in 375 to 376. They considered themselves the children of the Huns and are proud to be part of the great Turkic heritage in Europe. But why did Ukrainians express a desire to be observers in this organization? Maybe the problem is that its opponent's rival is his friend. It must be said that this organization is structured. It has a future. It should not be ignored. But I do not see a serious approach to this organization in our Armenian pages. And the organization has done something interesting online. An executive secretariat has been established in Istanbul, but they have the format of presidents, summits, the format of foreign ministers, high-ranking officials. The parliament of a regular organization is located in Baku, etc. This is an organization built on an ethnic basis, on which large sums of money are spent. Economic, cultural, trade and investment cooperation is established to advance their policy. This organization is getting stronger day by day. We should not look at these countries separately because, in fact, this is the restoration of the lost Turkish heritage in a modern way, in the throat or on the way of which we are, so we must be very careful to find the edges of economic cooperation with this organization. Ashot Aghababyan. In Central Asia, which power centers' interests clash? Ara Sahakyan. The states of Central Asia appeared in a unique triangle, and then 5 triangles are intertwined. There is a big triangle, Beijing, Moscow, and let's call it the West, and each of these 3 capitals has its own unique relations with another state. The United States had no chance to enter here, at least militarily, but the events of September 11, 2001, the actions of the anti-terrorist coalition in Afghanistan led the United States to pursue the Uzbek and Kyrgyz authorities to have airports there. True, there were lists, but these airports served as a serious military basis in the zone of influence of the CSTO. Russia played the role of transportation of goods, people, and fuel. Later, in 2005, the Aghababyan airport was closed, and in 2014, the Foreign Minister of Kyrgyzstan, Irlan Abdilda, presented the final note by which the United States was to liberate Manas Airport, which was used as a base. Russia is still able to maintain its interests because in Tajikistan there is a 201st base as there is in Armenia. This is receiving a lot of attention from the Russian political and military authorities. It is directly under the jurisdiction of the Central Military District of Russia. The Russians are now operating Kant Airport in calmer conditions, located 10 kilometers from the Kyrgyz capital Bishkek. Chinese involvement is purely economic, educational, and huge scholarship are provided by the West. There is a peculiarity in the Russian-Kazakh relations. The point is that Russia is very sensitive towards Kazakhstan. It understands that it is the largest in the area after him, with a large Russian population living in the north of Kazakhstan. Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, and Tajiks have given the Russian language a constitutional status. It is considered an official language. In military terms, the Russians left Kazakhstan late. They have not left completely yet. With the agreement on the recognition of independence and the eternal Russian-Kazakh friendship that followed it, and various agreements on military cooperation. In Kazakhstan, 11 million hectares of land remained in the hands of the Russian military. Why? The first test of the first Soviet atomic bomb took place in that part of Kazakhstan, in Semiplatings, now called Semi, with more than half of the Soviet nuclear warheads stationed in Kazakhstan. This 110 square kilometers has become 16,000 square kilometers, but it is still significant in some places. It is true that nuclear warheads have already been transferred to Russia, but for example, the military base on the shores of Lake Balkhash has been considered a key strategic security link since Soviet times. In other words, all the blows that were expected from the direction of Pakistan, the first recording station was Balkhash Station. So the Russians and the Kazakhs show readiness to harmonize their interests to solve any problem. Central Asia is a region very close to us. We need to bring closer the relations with those countries.